In August 1990, I did the Coast to Coast walk, finishing 1 week before I got married. 30 years on, my wife Judith and I decided we'd do it as a 30th anniversary celebration. This video highlights some of our experiences on the way, from sun-kissed vistas to driving rain, over mountains and moorland and through valleys and by rivers, from coast to coast. It tells our story and our journey. The start of day 11, so we've left our nice little pitch by the track, and first up is the Lion pub at Blakey Ridge. Today it's forecast 27 degrees today, so we've got plenty of sunscreen on, but there's actually quite a, well, I'd say quite a moderate breeze, which is just keeping the temperature down, but of course what it doesn't do is keep the UV down. So yeah, it's just making sure that we're well prepared. And we've got a nice first, well, about 4.5 miles along this railway track and to start off with. I'm just trying to work out what this is here for. Well, that was slightly disappointing. The Lion Inn doesn't open until 12 o'clock, so I think we were hoping for a decent brew, maybe a little bite to eat. Anyway, so we've now got a couple of K road section, which just takes us round into the next ridge. So I'm just double made sure that we're going the right way here, because the last time I did the coast to coast we made a daft mistake and we took that path that went down there, and it cost us, well, a good 2-hour diversion. So anyway, happy that we're on the right place, happy we're on the right road, but we're on the road for another couple of kilometres before we turn off. Today's lunch spot. So we've just started coming down Eskdale Rig, and we've just stopped here to have half an hour. A lovely view, enjoying the sunshine. The only problem you've got when you get a nice lunch spot like this is it's getting going again. You could just sit here for hours in the sunshine just listening to the wind. But we've got ice cream to eat at Eskdale. What sort of ice cream are you having, Judith?
Pistachio.
Pistachio. I think maybe coffee or caramel for me. So that's what we're doing. We're going to head down to Eskdale for ice cream. So we're currently on Eskdale Rig. Gives a really nice fast walking along this sort of ridge, with lovely views either side. So yeah, Really nice section this. So we're going to drop over the top and down to Glasedale. We have reached Glasedale, but unfortunately the shop is shut. Shuts from 8 till 1. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But very pretty street this. So this section past Car Bridge is really lovely on the walking alongside the River Esk, and we've got some nice shade in the woodland from the heat, so this is really very pleasant. So approaching the end of day 11, the miles are certainly easier to earn today. They definitely pass by more quickly. They're on good tracks, and it's mainly downhill all day. There's very little uphill. That first section to the line in at Blakey on the railway line was nice, pleasant walking. Bit of a dull road section then that you need to get over with, but then after that the walk down to Glasedale on that sort of ridge path is lovely. And then we're finishing today just walking through woodland, accompanying the Esk. Which is great. Yeah, it's out. It's in the shade, away from the sun. It's really quiet and peaceful. Yeah, it's a very nice end to the day. We are finishing earlier today, but as I say, the miles have gone by much more quickly. So, going to rest our feet before we tackle the final day tomorrow. Day 12, the final leg from Egton Bridge to Robin Hood's Bay. So I have to confess that last night we had a bit of luxury.
We did.
After 3 days without a shower and decent food, we stayed last night at the Horseshoe Hotel at Egton Bridge, and it was fabulous. Food was excellent. Room was lovely, shower was great, and so we're ready to go on the last day. So about 17 or 18 miles. At the moment we're heading to Gromont first, and then a bit of a steep pull up over the moors, and then see the sea. So a bit of a steep pull out of Gromont, but we've got lovely views opening up over Eskdale. Yeah, really pretty. Got our first view of the sea here, looking over to Whitby. So we're looking back here down Eskdale. You can see Glasedale village on the hill, and then right back up to the moors that we came over yesterday. So one last view before we turn to the coast. We're doing this walk in July, the last 2 weeks of July 2020. So in the UK it's post lockdown, but we've actually found in the walk there's still quite a lot of places that are shut. A lot of small shops, campsites have not been open. As a result of that, kind of shifted our plans slightly. It means that we've done 6 wild camps, 1 campsite, and 4 bed and breakfasts have been our overnight accommodation. So a good mix, I would say. If it was up to Judith, it'd have been more bed and breakfast. If it'd been up to me, it'd have been less bed and breakfast. But it's been a nice mix. I guess what we haven't done is used perhaps campsites, which we might have done. Although I think we both agree, give us a wild camping spot over a campsite any day. But I have to say that the accommodation that we've used, the bed and breakfast we've used, have all been fabulous. You know, really absolutely spot on. Very, very friendly people. Most welcoming.
Nice food.
Yeah, and great food. Yeah, great food as well. So it's contrasted with the rubbish that I've been serving to be able to get a nice meal at a B&B. I do really like this section of the walk. This is from Littlebeck, heading up to Falling Foss waterfall, and it's a section that I've come back and done since I did the Coast to Coast originally, and it really is lovely woodland, and you're kind of following the watercourse just up to the waterfall. It's a really nice section. Littlebeck is definitely your idea of a fairy glen from your storybooks when you were a kid, if you read those sort of storybooks. Well, today's lunch spot, well, it's not exactly lunch because we haven't got any lunch. So today's break and drink spot. So we're on the path to Horseshoe, and we can just got this view here of the sea and Whitby in the distance. So as I mentioned at the start, used Wainwright's original guidebook that I got 30 years ago. I brought that along. The route has changed quite a lot in places over the intervening years, and probably for the better actually. I'd say the change that have taken place have either meant less road walking or more scenic walking. So I think they have improved the original route. But what I would say about Wainwright's book and why it's still worth bringing along is nobody quite writes like him. There's a kind of humour to his writing, but also just the way he describes the hills, you know, the routes and his surroundings. He does it in a very unique way. And so anybody who's going to do this walk, you know, go to the original man who created it and read his work. You can, in fact, it's so good you can actually just read it as a book, you know, rather than a guide. But yeah, nobody quite like does it like he did. The sea is definitely getting closer. So as the walk comes towards an end, I suppose it's time for some reflection on it. So what have I learnt over the last 12 days? I think what I've learnt is both of us kind of made a conscious choice to try and make our lives simpler over the last year or so. And I guess by that what I mean is strike a balance between work and time for ourselves. And also just about valuing what's important in your lives. I think sometimes we get caught up in all the consumer, we must have this, we must have that. We need to have this house, this car, this washing machine, etc. All that. It's just noise. And I think what you realise is that actually, you know, when you pare it back, what are the things in life that you actually value? and really it's your family and your friends. You know, they are what bring you happiness in your life, not what sort of car you drive. And I think this walk kind of just emphasises that. It's about having that simplicity. What can be more simple than putting on a rucksack and going for a walk, you know, whether it be a mile, 5 mile, 192 miles. It's the same sort of thing. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but when I'm out in the hills or on the trails, I think that's the closest I get to kind of a spirituality, if you like. Crikey, it sounds deep, doesn't it? But it's kind of that peaceful, and that kind of sense of peacefulness, and a kind of sense of belonging, really. And I don't know, in an age when people seem to have all sorts of mental health issues, or, you know, got social media bandwagon that they get caught up in, or consumer bandwagon. I don't know, sometimes we maybe all need to just make our lives a little bit more simpler, and there's nothing simpler than this. Going for a walk. Just a long walk. Well, I never got my ice cream, but we did get a nice bit of rocky road and a scone at the Coast Cafe, which is just at the caravan park. So that's going to power us through the last 3 miles. And we've reached the North Sea just as it started to absolutely chuck it down. Great timing. Oh, we've just had a right downpour. Got right soaking. That were a bit naughty right at the end, wasn't it? I guess there are a lot of different reasons why people might want to walk the Coast to Coast walk. For me and Judith, it was partly about being our 30th anniversary and a bit of a celebration of that. But for Judith as well, she's used it as an opportunity to raise some money for Alzheimer's research, which has affected, you know, the lives of our, well, members of our own family, but also of our friends' families as well. So it's quite a pertinent thing. She's done that through Parkrun. For me, it's been about maybe revisiting some memories of 30 years ago, seeing how things have changed. Unfortunately, the guy that I did it with 30 years ago is no longer with us. He died 10 years ago of cancer. So for me, it's been a little bit of a memory of him as well. But I think whatever your reason for doing it is, you should do it. We've watched quite a few YouTube videos to see other people's experiences. And as one Wiltshire man put it, he said, be one of those people who go out and do things instead of just talking about it. And he's spot on. You know, go out, experience it. You know, each person's experience will be very different. You'll have your different highs and lows. For us, I suppose it would be walking to Reeth was a pretty low moment. But then there'll be times when the sun's on your back and your mind's clear and you'll feel great.
Filing. No, I think. Oh, look, Andrew, you get your ice cream.
Hey.
And they even arranged for the time to come in for us. How good is that?
Yeah.
Ah, I can't see your feet. Right,
Yeah.
right, one more.
Right, where's that ice cream?